We couldn't use any of the previous assets, so we came up with a story that basically is Enzo rebooting or landing in the game of ReBoot.
Yeah.
It's great, makes sense. And then we came up with the whole idea that, well, if he's going to do that, they're always the antagonists of the show. So therefore, they have to reboot as Megabyte.
Oh, in the game, yeah.
In the game, they're always the antagonists.
They're always the bad guy, yeah.
So because of the bad guy, they reboot as Megabyte and Hexadecimal.
Yeah.
So we put the show together, and it came together rather quickly. And I just remember Ian, I forgot what he did. We had one of our better screaming matches on this one.
Legendary.
Legendary. I got into a screaming match once. There was 8 people in the room, and we're screaming. Me and Ian screaming at each other at the top of our lungs for 10 minutes. No lie, 10 minutes at the top of the lungs. So I just turned around. Does anybody else have a goddamn opinion? Am I right or wrong? I have no idea what's going on anymore. I've been screaming for 10 minutes, and I need some help here. We're all just like, I don't want to be part of this. But when we did number 7, again, it was another one of those turning point moments where we saw that the whole concept of Enzo jumping from game to game, which was we were playing out for most of the series, stops. And then we decided to go back into mainframe and then get the story going again.
Yeah.
Where he heads on back. And then we get into all the Megabyte War
All
stuff.
the mega frame stuff.
Yeah. Which is a lot of fun. But, oh boy. Okay, I'm tired, Rafi.
There you go.
You want to go? How about let's open up some questions. Next one here.
I was actually going to ask you about that episode number 7. Was that of all the pop culture references, and there's like a million?
Yes.
Was that the most obscure one?
What, The Prisoner?
The Prisoner.
I think,
Yeah.
I think that was the most obscure reference.
I mean, you got to bear in mind that, like,
Really?
3 of us were, like, English.
Yeah.
So we were so familiar with The Prisoner, and we figured, well, you know, some people get it and go, hey, I get it, and other people will be like, what the hell is going on?
The part that I love best about doing that one is that we hit a bunch of golf jokes in there.
Yes.
You know? And the worst golf joke is when the big giant number 9 walks by and he's holding his back.
How's your back?
And I said, how's your back 9? And
There was no particular reason for the golf jokes.
because remember he got hit by a golf ball.
Oh, yeah, of course.
We had the golf ball. Sorry. Right over here. Yeah, sure.
Okay, I was just wondering if ABC hadn't been bought out by Disney. It's just there are so many things that happened during Mainframe's tenure, but I'm just such a huge fan of it. And I'm just wondering, do you think most of those would have happened? Because I mean, just war planets, weirdos, beast wars. Come on! Beast wars!
All the mainframe stuff, honestly, guys. I mean, this is the guy behind them all. Those guys did everything.
Yeah. I think all those shows would have happened too because just doing ReBoot brought those shows in.
Yeah, and Beast Wars was the one that kept the company going, and it really showed how you can turn toys into shows. I mean, War Planets, you think we have stories about ReBoot, you should hear the War Planet story.
I mean, the toys on War Planets were like tiny little...
Yeah, think like this, these are planets that fight. They're big planets, and they go like, how do you make a show about planets that fight? They crash into each other. It's silly.
So we built a whole universe for that show. I love that show.
So do I, absolutely. All the way in the back, straight back.
Yeah, I'm interested in Brendan McCarthy, like how he came on and what working with him was
The
like.
connection there was way back in the early days when we were developing the show. We were working with Limelight because Ian and myself had done a pop promo with Limelight, so they were like our production company at the time, and they used Brendan. Steve Barron, who was the director at Limelight, who we'd worked with. He'd worked with Brendan on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie that came out in the early mid 80s. Mm-hmm. So when we were developing ReBoot and we needed a designer, Steve said, well, why don't you work with Brendan? And Ian and I met with Brendan and we got on and we liked him a lot and we loved his stuff. His stuff was great. So that was how he came on board.
Did you have Ian Gibson before that though, right?
We'd worked with Ian Gibson in the very, very, very early days, yeah. Like somewhere like after the boxy Dire Straits look, but before the...
Yeah, you should see some of the early tests. I mean, what else did it came.
Well, the show evolved to match the technology of the age, sort of thing.
ReBoot note. I have to do it now, okay? I'm going to do more things to embarrass.
Okay.
Cecil.
Cecil.
Okay, ready? Does anybody here know what Cecil was named after? Gavin?
Anybody? No? No?
It's gotta be from Vancouver.
Yeah, it's a strip club in Vancouver. And that is why Cecil hangs from a brass rail. Hey, we were working 20 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And doing a hell of a lot of research.
You got it. Those, you know, Andrea's, Mouse's bodies, they didn't design themselves.
One day we'll fill you in about Jade. Anyway.
Oh, Jade, oh yeah. I forgot about that.
Well, the infamous Barbie test.
The Barbie test.
Oh, shit.
Oh no, that was for Andrea.
That was Andrea?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we did.
We got her in. For Andrea, we actually had one of our favorite strippers. Was a girl, her stage name was Blue Jean. And she was awesome. And, I'm sinking further into the mud as I speak.
Drag you down with me, brother.
And we actually got her, when we were designing Andrea, we got her in, and she posed with like a javelin, and I took lots of pictures of her. She was wearing clothes, and I took lots of pictures of her, and they were the reference for building Andrea's body. It was pure research.
Right here.
Still have the pictures.
Yes.
That's the art of ReBoot, okay?
I have to wonder, so early into the beginning of the series, Megabyte has Nibbles and calls him father.
Yes.
And then it takes all the way until season 4 for it to come out that it's Wellman Matrix.
Yes.
How long? Like, obviously it was planned for a long time, but when were you guys waiting to bring that out?
Well, I mean, the thing with stuff like that, and I think Dan will agree, is you stick things in there because it gets the audience to sort of go, what did he just say? But you haven't necessarily thought it all the way through to the end. You've just thrown it in there. And then later down the line you go, hey, now we can play a little bit more with that, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. And then finally, like 4 seasons later, you reveal the truth, the full story. So, you know, when you do it the first time, you don't necessarily know where you're going with it. But you throw it out there.
Those are the Twin Cities things for me. I know you guys.
Twin City.
You always had the mind on the Twin Cities.
There was that
and I never knew what that was.
Yeah, where he's like, you know, oh, Dad killed all the other people when he blew up the Twin City. And it's like, what did he just say? Rewind that tape. What did he just say?
Exactly. Right on the aisle.
I just would like to hear more behind the story of how the 4th season came about, because I don't know too much about the background of.
Okay, the 4th season. That's okay. I'm gonna go do that one.
You're gonna help me there because I
know exactly how it
lost
happened.
track of.
No, what happened was this: we had money from YTV, and
we always had money from YTV. God bless them.
Yeah, they really saved us. We had money from Irwin Toys, who were putting out the new line.
Yeah.
We wound up getting the show placed on Cartoon Network as part of the Toonami block, which was an important deal for us. And what happened was that ADV Films started to put out the videos. So we had a perfect storm of stuff happening, and we had the 3rd season all ready to go. And what happened was that the reason why you have 8 episodes in the 4th season was that it was built as 2 2-hour movies. That's what happened. So what happened was that the idea was that we were getting money from all different sources, and we found the perfect number of episodes to create in order to finance those episodes, coming in from video, coming in from toy, just enough, and coming from the different studios. So that's how that happened. That's the reason why and we, you know, honestly, we'd be doing ReBoot to this day if it kept on going. And that was the way to keep the show alive. We shot Bob, no, not after we shot, we brought Bob back.
Yeah.
Right? At the end of season 3.
Yes.
And the new Bob, and then we had my 2 Bobs to start season 4.
No, that was Demon Rising.
What? Demon Rising.
Season 4 was Demon Rising, followed by My 2 Bobs.
Okay, sorry, that's my mistake. Thank you. You know.
So you remember the business, I remember the...
Yeah, I remember, I do. I had to live those calls. Anyway, all the way to the back. Yes.
Settle a debate very important to several of the fans, and especially so to me. Is Hexadecimal dead?
Oh.
That's
a very good answer. I like to think that she's out there somewhere. and that we would have eventually found a way to bring her back. Because you can't kill a character like Hexadecimal, especially when she does it in a self-sacrificial way. So I think, I always read it that, and this isn't canon, obviously, because it's not on the screen. I always read it that, you know, she was out there somewhere in some form. I mean, I always used to say, like, you know, when your computer hangs or crashes or you corrupt a file, it's her out there messing around. So.
Right over here in front.
What would you say was like the biggest problem you had, like technically, like something that really screwed you over with like how to actually make a scene work, like just with the technology that you had?
Well, like back in season 1.